of buying toilet paper and hand sanitizer, if you need that, fine. But I want you to buy a boat magazine or a travel magazine. Maybe you don't like boats. I know Gene loves boats. Maybe travel's your bag and you just want to be with your family. Maybe it's giving, maybe it's financial, whatever it is, but buy some magazines, travel, boat. If you're into cars, I'm not a car guy, but if you're into cars, buy a car. But get yourself in, get you some vision and dream to power your rocket. And it's not about stuff. I mean, for some of you, maybe it is. Maybe you do want a Rolex watch or whatever. I have a bunch of beautiful watches and I bought them on cruise ships for nothing. So they're not, it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. But what is your bag? My bag is loving people, giving, being a life enhancer, not a well poisoner. Coming from contribution, that's my thing. It floats my boat. It makes me tick. Seeing lives change, man, that's my favorite thing. Yeah, I like homes, I like cars, but my vision is to take this company to 1 million agents in the next 10 to 15 years across 40 countries. So here's the deal. Here's my thing for you to write down today. Input equals output. It's a math equation. I want to say it again. Input equals output. So, simple question. What are you inputting? Are you inputting CNN, constant negative news? Or is Fox News on 24/7? Is ABC, CBS, CBN, whatever? Is it just constantly flooding you and you find yourself, oh no. And so we're about to introduce you a couple, and just a little bit after Rob speaks and Scott, they had COVID-19, and it's going to be startling. And you're going to see something you've never seen before. And you're going to see that what COVID-19 can do to you, but you're also going to see a couple who's overcoming. So that was a little teaser, but so it's coming. Do not go anywhere. And we're very proud of them. But so how do you control your input? Well, I gave you a little bit with like a vision board, a dream board. And so another way to do it is Tony Robbins. Last night, I watched on Netflix. I finally got it to work. I'm Not Your Guru. Tried to do it Thursday. I literally couldn't find it. Turns out on my Netflix account, I had adult ratings. And Tony has a bit of a potty mouth. So what's the word? Disclaimer. I was shocked. He did swear in that thing. I was like, whoa. I told people they should watch this and I had never seen it. I heard it was great. And I'm a Tony Robbins fan. He swore more in that thing than I've been to 3 of his events. I've never heard him. So just disclaimer, if that is sensitive to you, don't watch it. But if you could, and he explains why he does that in the video to kind of shock you and get you to pay attention. And the first 5 minutes, you're just like, the first 5 minutes, watch it. I'm Not Your Guru, Tony Robbins on Netflix. Again, it's an R rating. If you have small children, you would not watch it with anyone under the age of 3. I'm kidding. Make sure they're 18 and older. This is an 18 and older, a very mature thing. But I'm telling you, it was very inspiring about this man and what he's doing to change lives and the whole. And then there's Francis Chan. Anybody know Francis Chan out there? I love Francis Chan. There's John Maxwell. There's Lance Wallnau, Dr. Lance Wallnau. This is great. Input equals output. You listen to these people? How about Simon Sinek? How about Zig Ziglar? How about Joel Osteen? Amazing guy. Don't always agree with everything, but a lot of it's very good. I watched him a couple Sundays back. It was amazing, very encouraging. So there's all kinds of great input to equal your output. So as I wrap this up, I want to encourage you, stay mentally tough, because here's an example. I just got a text from one of my best agents. He said this: 754 properties have gone into escrow just recently in the past few weeks here in April, right here in my little town, my little area. 45% of those had multiple offers. I'll say that again. 45, this is during the pandemic. 45% had multiple offers, and the pending sales price were 4.7% higher than March, than last month. Kind of when the pandemic is hitting, everyone's like, what's going on? So they go, no, nobody's going to buy. People canceling escrow. Yes, people win the lottery. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, Joe won the lottery. And everyone hears about it. If someone Bob canceled escrow, everyone hears about it. It's like lightning in a bottle. Let me give you the good news. Home values sold for 4.7% higher in the pandemic, 45% getting multiple offers. Man, what is your input? And it's going to control your output. And you go, you know what? I'm a beast. I'm going to go out and do something for my family. I always love to say this. I'm a lion. I'm gonna go out, kill something, drag it home, and feed it to mama. I'm gonna go do what it takes to succeed. You can't keep a good woman down. You can't keep a good man down. Put on your big boy pants, your big girl pants, and get out there and do something great with your life. Say, I will not be a victim of this world thing. I realize the pandemic's real. I realize COVID-19 is real. You're about to meet two people who had it and got extremely sick. And what you're about to see may startle you, but they are overcoming. So stand by, you're about to be blown away. But I could tell you more stories, but I'll end with this. I will end with this. Where do I want to take this? I'm going to say this. Don't be fooled by your brokers. Don't be fooled by your managers. If you're a Coldwell Banker agent and you're going to Christie's, they're going to tell you it's a terrible idea. If you're a Christie's agent and you're going to Sotheby's or Keller Williams, the Christie's manager or broker is going to say, don't go to Keller Williams. They're like this low brand. I mean, compared to Sotheby's and Christie's and Grey Poupon, right? Whatever they're going to say to dog you on that, it doesn't matter what company. Century 21, going to Berkshire Hathaway. Berkshire Hathaway, going to, they're not going to go, that is so awesome. You found Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett's company. He's a billionaire. I'm sure he'll appreciate a few extra shekels. They're not going to say it's a good idea. So do not be surprised that all you heard about EXP is it's a multi-level marketing network marketing company. Really? Can I just share this with you? My closings for my sales organization in the month of March, we helped 3,200 sellers sell their home. We sold 3,200. We closed during the pandemic with lenders bailing out. We closed 3,200 plus in March, not for the year, in the month. With the models and the projections here, we should close over 50,000 homes this year. Not EXP, just my little organization. 50,000 people homes. And the people you're listening to, if you're from another company, here's what they say. Well, those agents don't sell real estate. Those are the weak agents. Be very careful about what you're allowing the input, because you're writing it off. You're writing it off. You are missing the greatest transfer of wealth and the biggest thing to hit real estate in 100 years. The franchises are done. Those benefited people who could spend $250,000 to start and then do what they do and have hundreds of agents working for them. This is for you. If you're an agent at a big franchise brokerage or independent, EXP was built by agents for agents. This was built for you. So I could not be more fired up. And I'll end with this thought. You are not too late. We have coming up on 30,000 agents. There are 2 million in North America. Do the math. It's just over 1% market penetration. Oh, baby, look out. And we're the talk of the town. And it's coming. So we got, in the North America, 400,000 coming in the next 5 to 7 years. 370,000 are coming. They might as well come through you. And then it's going to go globally as we open 40 countries. We're going to open 3 or 4 countries a year for the next 10 years. And guess what? We're going to be in 40 countries. There's about 25 million agents worldwide. There'll be a million EXP agents. We're offering healthcare. Nobody's doing that. You have to pay for it, but it's a group discount. It's awesome. Great healthcare. Real valid retirement options and stock awards and leads. And we had 147 classes last week. Stop listening to your manager, your broker, your team leader. They love you, but they can't see the forest. Can't see the forest through the trees. They got their kingdom. They're just trying to defend it. We're not trying to take down their kingdom. We're just growing. Let me tell you what. You couldn't stop Uber. You can't stop Amazon. You're not going to stop Netflix. YouTube's going nowhere. Airbnb is here to stay, and it's for real. And they're all amazing companies. We all love these companies. And when you take a deeper dive and check out EXP, you're going to fall in love with EXP. So that's my message to you today. Just maybe take the idea of leaving your brokerage and put it on the shelf and just stay in curiosity about the model. Can you make that commitment to me? Can you learn about the model? Because here's what will happen. Either we will pass the mustard test or you will find the fly in the ointment. So how about doing your homework? And in a respectful way, I say that. Much love to everybody. And that's it. That's what I have to say today.
That's so awesome, Brent. And I remember when you first looked at EXP, you did your homework, because I know you jumped on an airplane to do your homework, and you brought your team with you, and you said, hey, talk me out of this, because I'm about ready to do something crazy, because you really weren't interested in moving. You were set. You loved where you were at. Yeah. You were excited about what you were doing, but you had an open mind. And it's amazing what happens when you have an open mind, and grateful for the guy that, or one of the guys that introduced this to you, Rob and Sheila, when they called you. And I know you jumped on their webinar. And so, Rob, do you remember that webinar the first time that Brent was on there?
No, I don't remember anything having to do with Brent at all. Of course, he was just like today, bigger than life. He very, very inquisitive. He was hopeful. He was really looking. He was successful to the point where he had done well in life, but he wanted something more. He wanted something long-lasting, permanent. He wanted the residuals. He wanted the stock. He was really looking and hoping that everything that he'd heard that we told him was true. So he came to our convention, and like within a week or 10 days from having seen, the presentation the first time, and he said, okay, I'm going to go. And he brought a couple of guys with him, and he said, I want you to interrogate people, ask as many people as you can. Really what it's like, not just from the guys who were talking to us, but from the rank and file. Talk to just about everybody you can. And I remember that time after it was over, and I think it was you, myself, Gene, Brent was there, and I think James was there too. And we were just having cigars around the fire, and he's saying, I found out so much. I found out the things I was looking for, and we just talked for hours and hours and hours. And it was really fun talking with him because he was extremely inquisitive. He was extremely hopeful and positive, and he's a guy of action, no question. And I remember when he first joined the team that he put me to work. In fact, I lost my voice in that first month doing 8 to 10 presentations a day for him, not just 1 or 2, a week. Remember that, Brent? It was like 8 or 10 times a day. You said, I'm getting on this and going.
I think it was 40 a day. I think the story gets bigger, but yes, we were talking to people every day.
It was amazing. It was fun. It was exciting, to see that kind of fire. And he's not the only one like that too. He's attracted a lot of people, and other people have too. And he's right. We're just getting started. I mean, we've done good, approaching 30,000 agents. But I think, 100,000's coming. I think 500,000's coming. I think 1 million's coming. I believe that real strongly, that 1 million is very doable worldwide. I really, really think that that's going to happen over time if people will stay in curiosity, and not judgment. And that's the answer to that question. I can tell you, I give you just a couple of thoughts. Yeah. During this last week, I've been reading this book on Edison. He's probably the most foremost inventor of all times, back in the 1800s and early 1900s. And it's interesting to see the periods that they went through. They went through huge downturns economically, nationally and internationally during his life. It seems that there's upheaval all the time. It's never smooth sailing forever. There's upheavals and there's downturns every 10, 15, 20 years in cyclic over history. I mean, he went through 4 or 5 of them in his life. And I realized just the other day, I was sort of feeling low, down, because of this lockdown. I think we're in our 35th or 36th day at this point in time now. And I just remember feeling a little, a little entrapped, and closed in a little bit. And so I decided that I just sat down. I said, I'm going to start saying, what I'm grateful for. And I just started writing things down. And I'd suggest you try and find 25 or 30 things, that you're grateful for. I'm just going to give you a couple of little ones that I wrote down just real quick, this morning, because now I do this on a regular basis. That I'm grateful for my health. I am grateful for my wife. I am grateful for my good, healthy food that we have. I'm grateful for my children. I'm grateful that I'm living in a safe home environment. I'm grateful for our friends. I'm grateful for Gene Frederick for showing us EXP. Thank you very much, Gene. I'm grateful for the technology that's coming in the world that we're able to utilize. I'm really grateful for our passive residual income driven lifestyle. It's beyond where we ever thought it would be. I'm grateful for the talented people that are joining into our lives and the talented people that are currently in our lives. And I'm really, really grateful for indoor plumbing. I figured that was a big one. And when I wrote those things down, I just felt better. I felt like, wow, I'm ready. Then I wrote down some affirmations. And these affirmations are, I am strong. In fact, I've now got to where I'm up to 35 push-ups at a time, 4 times a day. That's 140 push-ups a day. That's 4,200 push-ups a month. I can't believe I've done that. And now I'm moving towards 50 push-ups 4 times a day. Why? Just because it's something to do. I am strong. I make good decisions. I associate with 1%ers. I have a great business. I have extremely talented people that are joining our business every single day, just like Brent and yourself. I am healthy. I eat well and I eat healthy. I like to work out. I have to tell myself this because I'm not totally sure, but I like to work out. And today is going to be a great day. And the last thing I put down in affirmations is I love my life. And I love the people that I'm associated with. And when I go over those things, I feel better. I feel uplifted. I'm ready to do another call. I'm ready to do the number of 3-way calls that I get now more than ever before. And it's exciting to see that other people are out there putting in the effort, like Brent has said, let it go. Go for it. There's a lot happening now. And I'm just going to suggest that you make a list of what you're grateful for. Talk it over with your spouse. It's a fun time to do that. And a series of affirmations. I think that is really very important to get yourself mentally tough to be able to fight this battle of the mind. Because right now that's where we are. Yes, it's physical, but there's a lot of it is mental, no question about it.
That's awesome, Robbie. And as I listen to all of you guys, I'm just reminded of why you're successful. It's the simple things. I mean, it's the affirmations, it's the mindset, it's the doing the basics. All of you are talking about the same kind of things over and over, but you actually do it. I bet you if Brent Gove could turn his camera around, or maybe it's in his office, I don't know, but he has a vision board somewhere that he looks at. He doesn't just talk about it. He has it. He sees it every day. I mean, he's saying these things to himself every day. I know Gene Frederick. He has his numbers on his phone, his goals. I mean, he's been doing that for 4 years, tracking them. Man, this is awesome. Look where we're at today. I mean, you guys are very successful because you do the basics. And there's not one person watching this right now today that can't add that to their daily routine and duplicate success. And that's what I love about this. And I remember when this next couple came on the scene, you talk about a big deal. I mean, everybody was talking about these guys. Oh my God, can you believe they're coming? And the first time I heard Rick speak from the stage, I was just blown away. I was like, wow, it's so powerful, And so, Brent, I'm going to let you introduce your good friends, and we're going to bring them in because I know everybody's going to be excited to hear from these guys.
Absolutely. So don't bring them in yet. I want to introduce them first, then we'll bring them in. So I know we have our controller in the background running this thing, but Rick and Casey Geha. Rick owned over 7 Keller Williams franchises. Might have been 9, but I know it was at least 7 franchises. And he was a master faculty trainer. I've heard 100 trainers at my old brokerage. He was my favorite. When I saw this, he's the first one I called. Let's just call let's go whale hunt and bring the tartar sauce. So I called Rick and I go, dude, you got to check this out. This is amazing. So I know all about it. Gene Frederick's my best friend. I'm not interested. I'm a real estate coach. I've moved on in life. I've evolved. And so I go, really? So you've seen the potential to what this thing could do. And it was a large number, what I felt it could do, which I achieved last year. And he goes, no, I haven't known anything about that. I go, did you not see the webinar? And he goes, no, I haven't seen that. By the way, those of you watching at home, if you're like, what is this? Or you just stumbled across this online, it's called themodelexplained.com. Please do not call me or Rob or Scott or Gene. Call the person who invited you onto this. But watch themodelexplained.com. It explains everything we're talking about so we don't sound like crazy people. And that's what you want to do. The modelexplain.com. They call the person who invited you on to here. If you just stumbled across us online, call your best friend at EXP. Who do you know the best at EXP? Call them. Again, that's what we want you to do. But so anyways, Rick and Casey came on like gangbusters. Casey is an international sales expert. She has sales organizations in the Netherlands. I believe it's the Netherlands and all over Europe. She's constantly jet setting around the country. And Rick is my favorite real estate trainer. I love them. But here's the cool thing. They got COVID-19. They overcame it. And they have boatloads of homes in escrow. They have over 1,000 agents and brokers in their rev share organization at EXP. They went from just them to well over 1,000. And they are growing. And this year, they'll probably end at 3,000 or 4,000 with no offices and no overhead. So what you're about to see is shocking. You know, they've come through COVID-19. They were honestly very sick. But let's bring them on. You can see how bad it is. And I'm not making light of it, but I am having possibly, let's bring them on. I'm having a little bit of fun. Look at him. He looks awesome. Look at her. So I try to just do a little cliffhanger teaser like you'd be in a hospital bed, so hooked up to IVs. But they're obviously a beautiful couple. Casey's a superstar. She could be a model. And Rick, I always say, he's the most interesting man in the world. Look at him. He's interesting to look at. But Rick, Casey, unmute your mics. And we're so thrilled to have you here as people who actually had COVID-19 a month ago. And you're going to share a little bit about that in your story. So take it away. Two people I love very much. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm going to let Casey start. We decided to sit on separate sides of the house so that we could, not be talking over each other. So honey, take it away, babe.
Thanks, Em. So thanks so much for the invitation to be here and to share. I believe anything that happens in life, it's never what happens, it's what you make of what happens. And so the opportunity to share our story today and possibly make a difference with people is an honor. It's also, it's a privilege and it's a responsibility. So I'm going to tie everything about my message today to the audience of realtors because that's who's listening to this. And, we've heard a lot about mindset, and as we went into that situation, I was the one that got sick first, and I did some intentional things, and I'm going to tie this to your business. That is that when I started feeling like I was coming down with something, I immediately knew it could be that, and maybe it's not. I don't know. So I did intentional things to protect myself, to protect my environment, did not watch the TV, did not scroll Facebook and see what everyone was saying about what was going on. Instead, I took this mantra that the only way to it is through it. Changes are happening in the market, changes are happening where you live. The only way to it is through it. So how do you want to go through it? So for me, I decided the way that I wanted to go through whatever I was going to go through, not knowing if it was going to be COVID-19 or not, was to be very intentional around my environment, which is what you've heard today. However, equally important in that process, and I did get very sick, was that entire time I had a picture of myself well on the other side. So in your businesses, in your real estate sales businesses, your teams, your organizations, you're going to go through something. You get to choose how you go through it. You get to choose how you set up your environment. You get to choose the experience that you're going to have as it depends on you. Did it change the fact that I was miserably sick and felt terrible? No, it did not change that fact. However, the things that we each have in our control is the story that we're going to write around what's happening. You get to control your story. I get to control my story. What's the context that story is going to run under? Mine was, we're going to thrive in this. I don't know how. We're going to help make a difference in this. I don't know how. You never necessarily know how in the moment. On the other side, when you look back and connect the dots, things become more abundantly clear. And I'm so grateful to be on the other side of it. And our hearts and prayers go out for people that did not have the same experiences we've had or are not having the same experience.
Yeah, well, she said it really well. And Brent, we were off screen while you were doing the introduction, and it's been very emotional for me, especially when I'm getting introduced. I spoke to a couple hundred agents on the East Coast yesterday for another major franchise, as I do as a coach. And even when I was being introduced and they said he had COVID-19, I can't help but getting emotional because obviously you can tell I know the four of you very well, and you all know I married way up, like outkicked the coverage by a long way. But really, truly, the reason we're married is one sentence that she said to me on a meeting that we had that ended up being our first date, but that's not what the meeting was about originally. And in that, I asked her why she had pursued me for 2 years to get me to attend a personal development course that she had done. And Brent, you know it well now. And she said, oh, that's easy. It's because I see you so much bigger than you see yourself. And the reason that's relevant today to whoever may watch this from whatever company, from whatever industry you're in, is one very important reason. I was a couple of months short of my 51st birthday. She was only 33. The first thing that hit me is how much wisdom was coming out of the mouth of such a young person. The second thing that hit me is that I was almost 51 and I had never heard those words before from anybody. And I came from a very loving, Lebanese, supportive family. And it wasn't out of intention, but it was more because she knew more about what was possible for people than I did. And I started running my life from that point on, April 28th, 2008, at Havana's restaurant in downtown Walnut Creek. I'll never forget it. I started running my life like, wow, wouldn't it be great to just completely, Rob Flick said, I surround myself with 1%ers. I'm sure that the four of you hold each other accountable to being, I see you bigger than you see yourself, and then holding you capable of doing that. Well, when the Monday morning that I got the call from the doctor saying that I was positive for the COVID virus was the Monday morning that I woke up after 2.5 days of being horribly sick, feeling pretty good. Yet I'm not as strong mentally as my wife is. And what happened is when the doctor called, being very calm, and not having anything to prescribe, just keep taking Tylenol for the fever and Robitussin for the cough. She was trying to be calm. Is there anything I can do for you? In my mind, what was going on was a rush of all this stuff that came at me, negativity. We don't watch the news. We rarely scroll Facebook for stuff like that, but it was still coming at you. You could almost not fight it off. But in my mind, I thought instantly, because we have approximately 78,000 thoughts a day and about 85% of them are generally negative. Well, guess what? This was a big negative thought. I was starting to feel better. And then in my mind, and I actually started to tear up while I was on the phone with the doctor, I started thinking, maybe it's going to get a lot worse. Maybe I'm going to end up in the hospital. And then taking some of the dose from my wife, I said, because she got a lot worse. She lost her taste. She lost her smell. She was flat out on the couch for several days. But what I started to think about is, wow, what if it's not going to be that bad? Maybe I'm over the worst of it. And then started to use some of Casey's positive thinking to do it. Even instructed the doctor. She said, well, what have you been taking for the cough that's helping? I said, actually, a lozenge. Have you told anybody to just take a lozenge instead of damn Robitussin? Because the Robitussin wasn't helping me. I was popping lozenges. It was helping with the cough. And anyway, I had always wanted to be famous as a speaker and a trainer. And obviously, I think the best way to get famous is to get very sick. And because, I mean, the newspaper, the San Jose Mercury News and the East Bay Times, the two of the three biggest papers in the Bay Area picked up a story on us. And we remember the Sunday it hit the paper, we didn't even realize that so many people actually still read the actual newspaper. But we had slept in that morning and woke up and our phones had exploded, right? Like, I mean, now we're both healthy. We're a week past any symptoms and more calls poured in. But what happened is people started saying, well, you're a coach and a speaker. Can we have you speak to our agents? And it was half about tell us how you beat the virus, and then half about, well, what are we doing? And one of the things that I love about listening to you guys, we've been listening, Casey and I, to you guys, and we're very inspired by the guests you bring on. And this is a really good idea, so please don't stop. Is that, agents at this time, I'm a real estate agent. At the end of the day, if I didn't have my leverage revenue share income, all I'd have besides that would be selling houses. And we have really been doing a great job as a team getting houses under contract. The federal government says you're an essential business, but the counties we work in is saying, no, it's not an essential business. We've got a buddy of mine got a ticket in San Mateo, a $600 ticket for showing a home. And he goes, look, I sell $1.5 million houses. I'll pay those freaking $600 tickets all day long. Right. So the bottom line, like I use Corfac postcards to farm my farms. Those don't stop. They just ask us, we're going to twist your postcards so they have a little nice sensitivity to COVID. I go, great. I'm getting more calls from my postcards now than I did 3 months ago before COVID virus was even on the scene. But Brent, you asked me a really good question. You said, what are you telling people to do? Well, I'm going to tell you, and then I'm going to shut up because I really want Casey to take it from here, because I constantly look, like I told somebody the other day that I have worked out this week in the 5 days, Monday through Friday, I worked out 6 times. Monday, I did it twice. And then the rest of the days I did one. These are hour-long workouts. We got Jennifer Flick on there working them out. These are amazing workouts. And the week before, my first week out of my health, I did 5 workouts in 5 days, in 6 days. And, you know, Casey talks, we loved a book called Willpower Doesn't Work by Dr. Benjamin Hardy, and he talks about your environment. So January 1st, Casey and I looked at our weight and our health. And we said, we got to get back to what we know. We threw out all the stuff. In other words, you can't have stuff in your environment that's not healthy for you, right? So, and I was telling somebody the other day, I said, look, if Casey wasn't the one driving me to be a better version of myself, I'd be on the freaking couch with a bag of Cheetos this big and a 2-liter bottle of Diet Pepsi. Let's be freaking honest, all right? That's what I'd be doing. But one thing I've never had a problem with is working hard, ever, in my entire life since I was 11. I know how to work hard. And in between those Cheetos with orange fingers, I would still be working my butt off. But what I want you to think about for a minute is, what will people say? You know, you all here are, you guys are all very wise gentlemen, and you understand DISC and behavior. So I want to just say this. The DISC, the behaviors, if you haven't read the book called The Platinum Rule by Tony Alessandro, get that. But understanding behavior is very important. But because both my wife, Casey, incredible woman, traveling the world more than me, speaking to people about behavior and about lead generation and about building or sales organizations, she's really good at it. And I do a lot of it based in behavior, DISC. Well, guess what? I had 9 offices. They had 1,000 agents in them. And the 2 things we begged agents to do is lead generate and ask for help. And guess what? If you study behavior deeply, and most of you will never get to studying it that deep because you don't want to, I love it. The 2 things that no behavioral style, D, I, S, or C, will do naturally, meaning behaviorally, is to lead generate or ask for support. It's the 2 things that are not natural to any of the 4 behavioral styles. And once you get that, you've been aware, you're enlightened to the fact. So now you can handle it. ABC, awareness before change. Now I know that behaviorally, naturally, you've heard the saying, I'm not a natural born salesperson. Right. Well, behaviorally, no one is. No one's a natural born salesperson. So if you start to understand that, then you go, well, then I have to intellectually decide that I'm going to have to lead generate to create some results for me, which is highly uncomfortable. Okay. I'm an IS. Casey's a DI. All right. ISs hate conflict, confrontation. They hate any type of displeasing people. They just want to be loved and hugged. Well, I'll tell you the truth. ISs are not the ones who are going to typically lead generate either. Okay. Because why? They don't want to piss anybody off, and they're making up stories all the time. If I make this call, they may not like me. Like, all right, enough. So the head of this large organization I was talking to yesterday interrupted me and said, Rick, I know you were starting to say about lead generation, but on the East Coast, we just don't feel like lead generation is proper right now. I said, oh, I definitely agree. Can I finish what I was saying? Like, he actually interrupted my talk that they were hiring me to do. And I said, let me just finish, and I believe I'll go in a direction that you'll be very excited about. And I said, no, you don't want to pick up the phone. I started showing them my phone. I said, I want you to go into your contacts and I want you to look at them. When you look at them, what are you going to think? You're going to go, oh, there's Mary. I sold her a house 2 years ago. There's Brad. He's my insurance agent. There's Tom. He's the guy who does my inspections for me. I said, you're looking at a phone and you're putting a label on every single person. What I want you to do to lead generate right now is remove the labels, and they're all going to be called human beings from now on. And all I want you to do, and by the way, I'm going to read you a text that a lovely friend of mine named Cammie from Kansas, she's a real estate agent and a coach, sent me that she was sending out. I've read this text now to thousands of agents already in the last week and a half. and people are using it or a version of it to reach out to people. What I'm telling people is I track everything. This little book or the next book, because this one's about full, it goes with me everywhere. I track every single person I text, phone call, speak to, leave a message for, or write a handwritten note to. Do I do that only because of the pandemic? No, I've always tracked. You can't manage what you don't measure. Simple. I gotta know. I gotta know who did I reach out to and what were their thoughts when I reached out to them. But I'm not reaching out to them about real estate. There are people I am reaching out to about real estate, and those are the ones I've sold houses to in the last 5 or 6 months, and say, man, I'm so glad we got you in there before this pandemic hit. How are you doing? Right? Think about that. What about the people you're currently closing or that were closing through the pandemic? Well, those people you have complete open book to speak business about. You know, this has been a horrible, horrible thing, this pandemic. And I don't know how it's affected your family, but I want you to know I'm so glad we were in business together before it hit. I want you to remember that you have friends, family, community, and church and business that you associate with. If any of them need my advice during these weird, weird times, please have them reach out to me. Actually, the market has not slowed down, even though the majority of the public thinks it has. So please have them reach out to me. Lots of different ways to specifically handle being sensitive, caring, and helpful all at the same time. But the main thing I'm saying to people, and I'll read the text and then I want to pass it off to my wife. The text has just literally been life-changing for so many people. And the first several times I read it, I couldn't even finish it. I couldn't even finish it without crying because it was so emotionally moving. I am having, here it is. Okay. No, that's not it either.
Yeah.
Okay, so babe, I'm gonna read it later. I'll find it. But all I wanted to say is this: reach out to people. I'm gonna share that text because it'll give you an example of how, and then I'm gonna send the text to Rob and Brent and all of them. And if they wanna figure out how to share it, they can. I've gotten permission from Cammie, the lady who wrote it, that everybody can use it. Last thing I'm gonna say, I was talking to a gruff guy on the phone the other day and he said, hey, Rick, I'd like to hear about that text. I saw you talking about it. And I go, well, I'll send it to you. And I go, don't send it out. And he goes, what? I go, do not send it out. His name is Sasha. He goes, why not? And I said, because Sasha, everybody that receives that text from you will not believe for a second that you wrote it. I said, you do not sound like that. I said, you've got to customize it, move it around, change it so it sounds like you. He sends me the text he's going to send out. At the end of the text, it says, and he's a mortgage guy. He said, if I can help you with any refinance or mortgage questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I text him back. I go, are you listening to me? This is not about business. This is about people being okay. And the reason is we forget that isolation and fear are the two biggest things going on right now. And those are the two biggest causes of both addiction and suicide. And you don't know if someone's upset because they hate their mate that they're stuck in the house with, or they love their kids when they're at school, but hate them when they're at home, or if they've lost their job. You don't know. You just got to reach out and understand that people need a nice word now. So Case, take it away and I'll send the text later.
All right. Well, I'm excited to share about this, and then we're getting to my most excited topic, which is the third thing we're going to talk about today briefly, which is leverage. So my bait with bated breath for that topic. However, I want everybody to do something right now. I want you to pick up your phone, and I want you to go to the contacts section. And if you have an iPhone and you go to contacts, it's going to put everything alphabetically. You'll see it. And if you scroll at the very bottom, there's a little ampersand sign on the right-hand side if you're an iPhone user. And at the bottom of that, there's a pound sign. And so if you click on the pound sign and then scroll down as far as you can, it's going to tell you how many contacts you have in your phone. I'm looking at mine. I have 3,877 contacts. If you have an Android, there's a way to do that. But I want you to look at the contacts on your phone, and I'm going to give you 3 tips for how to sell more real estate based on that. Number 1 is whatever the number is in your phone, those are the relationships that you have the opportunity to invest in. How many of the people that are in your phone do not have a roof over their head? Now, I know I sold real estate for 5 years, and I remember what everyone wanted to do was just buy leads, or I just need an engine that sends me people that want to buy or sell. And nobody, really wanted to talk to the people that they knew. I just want to transact, like send me the transactions. I'll pay to get the leads so I can get the transactions. Well, in this window of time, this is one of the most unique and special windows of time, because every person that's in your phone that actually lives in somewhere is a relationship that you have the opportunity to connect with and add value to. I'm not talking about send a text. I'm talking about pick up the phone and call. I can count, and I remember all of the people that have picked up the phone and called us in the last 5 weeks that we've been on shelter in place. The people that comment on my Facebook stuff or send texts, not so much. However, the people that take the time to actually pick up the phone and call, I remember those people. So one of the top things you can do right now to sell more real estate is position yourselves in the minds of the people that you know as someone that cares, as someone that is willing to reach out during this time. And so that's number one. Number two is be intentional, not random. So I love this time. One of the things I love about this time is essentially distractions can be removed. Like, we have never been more efficient, more effective with our time because we're home right now. So if you're going to choose to be intentional and use this as a foundation to grow and catapult your business into quantum leaps and bounds, then develop the muscle that you have control over developing, which is the level of activity that you personally do each day to reach out and make those connections and connect with people. Trust me, they'll remember it, right? People will remember it. So if you're going to do that with 20 people a day and you commit to it and you do the 20 and you have those 20 conversations, two really powerful things happen. Number one, you made a commitment. Number two, you delivered on your commitment. And when you do that, your self-esteem goes up. When your self-esteem goes up, your posture goes up, your confidence goes up, your energetic vibration raises. What you're able to attract and draw to you becomes more by you doing what you said you were going to do when you said you were going to do it. So every day you can position yourself to build your self-esteem, reach out and make a difference with people as you're doing that. And people are going to remember that. They know you're a realtor. Hopefully they know you're a realtor. Number three is something I heard Simon Sinek talking about 2 weeks ago on a live that was brilliant. He is the author of Start With Why on YouTube. How Great Leaders Inspire Action is a brilliant TED Talk that he did that says the people that have the most, whoever, controls the relationship controls the business. And the people that have the most influence are the people that start with why. Nobody cares what you do and how you do it. Nobody cares that you sell houses and you're going to get them the best price in the fastest amount of time. I mean, that is a what and a how. Anybody can do that. Like, any agent can do that. So in this time, he said, people are going to reposition themselves in what they already know and just go do more of it. And he said, then there's people that are going to use this unique window of time to redefine their why. And they're going to lead with their why in business. So what would that look like for you as an agent? What if, instead of being somebody who does X number of transactions or gets the best price for sellers on multiple offers or the best value for buyers, as who knows what's going to happen in this changing environment, what if you became a transition expert? What if, as you're reaching out and connecting to people, like, you connected with something that you were so passionate about, helping people through transition, whether that was a transition to their dream home, or whether that was a transition because they are one of the many unemployed people in our country that will just go up and they're not able to make their mortgage anymore and they need to transition. What if you were the person that was serving people because you were supporting people in transition? The point of that is, get clear on leading with a why as you connect with people. And when you put those three foundational things in place, you are going to grow your business. You are going to help make a difference. You are going to transact more for people that are wanting the dollars and cents and brass tacks of actually doing real estate.
Casey and Rick, I'm going to put you guys on the spot. That was incredible. I know, having known you guys for a while and see you in action, you have an incredible relationship. It's very obvious that you guys both vibrate at a very high level and high energy. Why are the two of you doing this? What is your why?
You want to go?
I'll let you close it, hun, because you're like the one
Okay.
everybody loves. So I'm going to share a quick
Yeah.
story. Between 2005 and 2009, I was selling residential real estate. And in 2007, when the economic crisis hit, I was 32 years old, and I was looking at losing my home and filing bankruptcy. The bottom line is I had no leverage in my life. I was working 50 to 60 hours a week. I could not outwork. I could not outrun what was going on in the economy. And if you're somebody that if you don't close the deal, you're not eating tomorrow, you have no leverage, period. Now, I want you to write this down, because if this does not shock you into having a different mindset or an open mindset, you're probably just not ready to receive the message. There's two things that have people change. Number one, pain and suffering, which is what I was going through at that time. And then the second thing is joy and inspiration. And we get to choose if we're going to change due to joy and inspiration, or if some force outside of us is going to come into our lives, create some pain and suffering, and we go, okay, wait a minute, maybe I need to look at things a little bit differently. So here's what I want you to write down. Based on economics, every 14.4 to 14.5 years, you need to make double the amount of money, take-home money, that you're making right now to maintain the standard of life that you're living today. I'm going to say that again. Every 14.4 to 14.5 years, you are going to need to double the amount of money that you are currently taking home to maintain the standard of life that you're living today. So let's put this in some real context. I'm 32 years old. I'm making about 100 grand a year at that point in time. That means if I only live to 75, I'm going to need $800,000 a year to maintain the quality of life I'm living as a 32-year-old making $100,000 a year. So my question for those of you that are listening is, what is your solution to that? If you don't have leverage, which means the ability to be compensated outside of your personal time, energy, and effort, then you're going to do what most people do, which is work until the day that they die, or you're going to have to downsize your life when you take your foot off the gas pedal, and your quality of life will go down because you no longer are generating the money that you were generating when you had the energy and the drive and the desire to go crank it out and continue to sell more houses each year. So this conversation around leverage is one that is really around peace of mind. Like, it is impossible to create. I don't care how great you are at sales. I don't care how much money you're putting into funneling leads so that you can do transactions each year. You will never, ever, ever be able to create the time and the money that's available to live a quality of life that not just maintains as you age, that can have the ability to improve as you age, while you gain ownership of your time so that you can pursue your passions, you can be there for the most important times and people in your life, and that you're in the driver's seat. If you're in linear income, which is close a deal, and you're unemployed till you close the next one, you're screwed. Like, you don't have leverage. And that is where I sat at 32 years old. I am so grateful for learning about that concept and ways to help people actually get it. Like, the peace of mind that comes when that conversation goes away. It doesn't matter that we've been locked in our house for 5 weeks. Never once have we thought about, oh my goodness, how are we paying the bills? Like, that kind of peace of mind, and to get sick and go, oh, you know what? If this takes 2 weeks or 2 months or 10 months, I have peace of mind and I can be present to do what I need to do, which is called get healthy. That is what leverage gives you. And the beauty of this model and how it's set up to help anyone, like, it's about taking ordinary people and giving them a vehicle that creates extraordinary things, which, if you're to be honest, is what all of us really want. The ability to live life on our terms, do it with joy, do it with passion, and do it with peace of mind. And I'll pass it over to my husband, whom I love so much. Thank you guys for having an invitation to have me on the show today.
Thank you. That was awesome.
Awesome.
I want to be respectful. Should I just shut up and you take it from there? Because I'm not sure about the time, or?
Rick, what I want you to do, did you find that text?
Yes, I did.
Two things. Number one, I want you to share that text, because I know that that's going to be powerful.
Yeah.
Second thing, Casey talked about leverage. And what I want you to do now is tell everyone why EXP is enabled you to create leverage? What is it that's in this model that is so powerful, and why are agents across the country creating more leverage in real estate than ever before?
Absolutely. Really quickly, Casey and I started dating just as she went through bankruptcy and things, and I had lost between 2010 and 2015, my 30th and 35th year in the business. I lost everything. My decisions, owning offices during a downturn, over $2 million in rent unpaid, etc. It's all in the past. The reason us working together, her and I as girlfriend and boyfriend, and then fiance, and now husband and wife, we were able to take my credit score from 484 to 800. We were able to pay off our debt. This all comes from hard work, not any company, folks. Remember that. Hard work and a commitment to living a life that you want to live. I'm 62 today, and I don't own real estate. I used to base my happiness on owning real estate and driving a nice car and having a lot of money in the bank. What I base my happiness now is the strength of my relationship with me, my ability to look at me and like me. And then because of that, I can have the most amazing relationship with Casey and everyone else that I decide I want to have a relationship with. I want you to send this text out. I send it to Brent. Brent can figure out how to get it to everybody else, but this is the text that Cammie sent me that she was sending out. Hey, Natalie, how are you and Tim doing? I hope this finds you healthy and safe during the most uncertain and unsettling time. I don't know how the pandemic has impacted you and your family personally, but I wanted you to know that I'm reaching out to say you are on my mind. I hope you are able to give yourself the self-care and grace that we all need right now. With the lack of social interaction and distressing news coming at us every which way, it's made me realize how important it is that we stay connected. Let me know how you are, and if you're bored and want to catch up, I'd certainly love to. That text has, like, I gave it to Casey's aunt's a real estate agent in Idaho, 74 years old. She sent it out to 3 people, got 2 leads, and never mentioned real estate. Crazy stuff going on with that. The leverage thing is this. When Brent finally got me to take a look at EXP, Casey was in Chile on a business trip, and I said, Brent, I just need to run it by Casey, otherwise I'm in. And Casey looked at me and said, this could be it. This could be your chance to build the leveraged retirement you've been looking for. And it's never too late. This is the time. And by following the leaders, the 4 gentlemen that are on here, Scott, I love you because you said some really nice things, but I can remember meeting you in May of 2017 in Nuevo Vallarta. And I was immediately impressed. I already had a great relationship with Gene and Rob and you and Brent. Gene and Rob, I mean, Rob is in my upline at KW. So, but Casey and I looked at it and said, okay, let's get to work. We had other things that we were still handling, coming out of debt, still paying things, still finishing off a lawsuit, all kinds of things that we were going through. But you can ask her today. I sit here in the same spot and I talk to hundreds of agents every day that are reaching out to me and saying, what is going on? I've never seen you so lit up. And that, remember, we have to be the person we want to attract. Your vibe attracts your tribe. The phone's ringing. EXP has given me the opportunity to build stock ownership. My wife is in charge of all the finances. She told me the other day how much stock I owned. I almost fell over. I go, wow, in 3 years that happened without me knowing, right? And then the ability to build revenue share, keep the majority of my money when I sell houses, running a huge real estate team. I have nothing but elation. Yes. Do we have stuff happen in our life? Absolutely, we all do. The most important thing is keeping your eye on that prize, and EXP has given me the opportunity to do that.
That's beautiful. Your vibe attracts your tribe. Man,
That's good.
I know that one. That's good. Robbie, Gino, Brent, you got any questions for the guys or anything you want to add today? We still have a lot of people tuning in, and I think we don't want to discount, Rick hit on something that's very powerful, and so did Casey when she talked about just reaching out to people and being, just being genuinely interested in people. You don't know what people are going through right now. Some people may be going through a really difficult time. We haven't been through this before. And so I think there are people listening in today that are really taking this stuff to heart. And, you know, I know it's had a huge impact on me in my life. And every time I hear stories like this, man, it really, it's powerful. It's amazing.
That is.
Sure, I remember seeing Casey. Casey and my wife Jennifer get along real well. And I think we were in Florida, and you guys were a couple of tables over, as I recall. Do you remember that incident? I thought that was just perfect. And so you guys were a few tables over, and I sent a couple of glasses of mimosas, champagne mimosas, and I said for the ladies over there. And and they said, I said, he's looking for your number. I know that's what he wants, is to get your numbers. And it was my wife and you, Casey, there. And you said some interesting things to the waitress. And so the waitress came back to me when she learned that I was actually Jen's husband, and it was just sort of a fun thing. And she said to me, oh my gosh, I wish my husband would think to do things like this. And I remember those little incidents. It makes me cry right now. It was so awesome. And you played along really. Do you remember that? That was fun.
I do. I think I remember saying something. She goes, well, do you know those guys? And I said, I think one of us might be sleeping with one of them. And the blood drained from the waitress's face. It was like, and then we started cracking up. It was fantastic. It was so fun.
How do you follow that?
Yeah, I know.
Anyways,
Yeah.
I think it's an appropriate story to wrap up today would be, I love the story of the man who's stranded in a raging flood, and it literally parts his house. 40 feet on both sides, it's flying by 3-4 feet, hauling, but he could be swept away. It's a flash flood. And he's praying, God, save me. And this big 4-wheel drive comes out of nowhere. We'll throw you a line and a life jacket, grab it. He's like, no, I pray God's going to save me. And we all know the story, right? Then he gets up to his windows, and a boat comes by. They're all geared up. Get on the boat, get on the boat. He's like, I pray God's going to save me. And then he goes to the roof, and he's holding on to the chimney. And he's going, God, save me. And then a helicopter comes with the searchlight. They lower a ladder. Get on the ladder. You're going to get swept away. And he's, nope, I prayed God's going to save me. And then the water gets higher and he gets swept away and he dies and he goes to heaven. He goes, God, why didn't you save me? And of course, we all know the story. I sent you a 4-wheel drive, a boat, and a helicopter, you know? And so I just want to say this to you. You've been praying to do something great with your life. Here's your chance. Do not let EXP be the 4-wheel drive or the boat or the helicopter. This is big. We're so excited you could all be with us. Rick, Casey, you are amazing. You guys are shining lights. Let your light shine. You are a city on a hill, a lamp on a stand. Rob Flick, Scott Lewis, Gene Frederick, you have changed my life. And together we are change agents. We are bringing change to real estate, power to the people. This is all about the agents. Oh my gosh. And it's so crazy when agents and other brokerages don't see it. They're just, I'm a Lakers fan. My mom worked for Coldwell Banker 25 years. I will die with blue in my blood. That's just a dumb thing to say, Mom. I love you. But you know, it's like, no, I will drive horse and buggy forever, when you could have got on the new Ford, Model T Ford, or, you know, you just can't be stuck in your old ways. Life is changing. Embrace it. And we're just excited to have everyone here today. I'm going to give it back to you, Scott. I just want to fire off a final closing volley.
Yeah, get on the boat. Now is the time. I mean, it is awesome. Again, thanks, Rick and Casey. Thank you for joining us. You guys are awesome.
Thank you for having us. We appreciate it very much.
Absolutely. I'm going to go to our co-host now. Next week, we're here every Saturday, right? We were built for this. And, you know, next week is going to be really special. And I'm going to let Rob just talk real quickly about our guests for next week, because you are not going to want to miss next week.
Okay. I've asked my money mentor, Dave Steck, to join us next week and to give us an urgent update on the 2020 State of the Union for Realtors. What's coming up next? Dave, he heads up the Steck family office with his 2 sons, and their thesis is volatility equals opportunity. He's created and managed 3 investment funds for real estate investors over 11 years without one single loss to his investors of over 7,000 different investments. Dave graduated from the London School of Economics and speaks at Harvard University and other conferences when he shares his annual State of the Union for real estate investors and what's coming up next. Dave and his family invest over 6 figures a month in research. And they bring that, and he's agreed to share that research behind 4 questions that we keep getting from all of our EXP agents and the whole EXP community. And number 1, is there light at the end of the tunnel? And if so, when? Number 2, how has the housing market forecast changed and how will it be impacted? Number 3, who will be the most and least impacted financially? And what can I do to eliminate or mitigate that? And number 4, are there any investment strategies for 2020 that make sense right now? The critical question is, what's coming up next and how can I either avoid it or capitalize on it? Like Winston Churchill's famous comment, don't let a good crisis go to waste. Let's take advantage of what we have. Come here and hear David. He and his family are awesome with the information that they have. I appreciate them like I appreciate all of you. And I look forward to seeing you next week. And thank you again, Rick and Casey, very, very much. I appreciate and love you both very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Bye, everybody.
Everyone have a great
See you guys.
next week, guys. Thank you.
See ya.